Okay, so today we're going to be installing the front turn signal kit for the Andsky Apex 50. Need a few things. Number 14 and a number 17 metric wrench. You're going to need your crank puller kit, which I have here. And you need a hex wrench, obviously, to get the crank arm off. And then the last thing you're probably going to want to do is have a drill or a Phillips screwdriver to take a bunch of screws out of the bottom bracket area so we can get to the controller. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do is pull this bolt out of the crank. I want to go in and head and screw this in. We can go ahead and tighten her down. Now we can take our number 17 wrench here, start pulling the crank arm off. There she goes. Set that aside. Next thing I'm going to do is take out these 6 screws. That'll allow us to take the cover off, and now you can see our controller inside of here. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, let's go ahead and get our controller out of there. I'm going to go ahead and unplug the battery too, just safety reasons. So one thing I'd like to point out, some of the connections have plugs on them. You can see one here, you can see one here. But most of the rest of them are hardwired and soldered inside the controller here. It would have been nice if all of these had plugs on them, but of course they don't. And these are just cables going to the back. So let's move on to the next step here. Okay. So now we're going to use these holes in this bracket right here, our number 14 wrench, and we're just going to go ahead and install this, slide the nut over. Give her a good twist here. And then I'm going to tighten this up with the wrench. Just snug it up a little bit. These are a little flexible, by the way, so if you hit something with them, I don't think you're actually going to break them. Another pro tip from William, do not completely remove these bolts. The insert inside of it will fall inside the headlight. Don't do that. Okay, so I did the same thing for the other turn signal. That's all mounted. Next thing we're going to want to do, I've got a zip tie holding this in place. Let me get that off for a sec here. Got my zip tie. So we're going to need to remove this corkscrew stuff they got on here. These holds these wires in place. Okay, next we're going to want to unplug everything from this big plug right here, okay? One that has all the wires coming off of it. So we'll start here. They are all color coded. Lastly, this one. And that will allow us to pull this large wire here. Okay, we're back down at the bottom bracket area again where the controller is. This big fat one right here, we're going to go ahead and unplug that. And that will allow us to go up here and start pulling that through. Now the entire harness is out. So the next thing we got to do is, if you can see this hole right here where all the wires are going through with the rubber grommet, right here, this goes right down the tube and all the wires come out inside the bottom bracket here. We need to fish the large wire from the new harness down through there. Okay, now that we got that wire fished through there, we can go ahead and plug this back in. Pay attention to where the little pin is when you plug it in here. I want to line up the arrows like usual. We got her plugged in. I had to end up removing my battery to fish the wire, but I got a pro tip for that. Now that we've got the wire all fished up, go ahead and start connecting everything back up again. One. Okay, now that we have everything connected, go ahead and get the battery back on. Go ahead and plug the battery back into the controller. Now we can go ahead and fire off the bike. Make sure their turn signals are working. That one's looking good. Go the other way. That one's looking good. Horn still works. Headlight still works. We'll go around to the back. We got our left blinker on. Just make sure the back's still working. It is. We are done, folks. So all that's left is to go ahead and use all this wire wrap to wrap all these wires up nice and neat again. And do everything you took apart, put that back together the opposite direction.